Hello everybody, welcome to Code Man Blue Gaming here on YouTube. Today I'm going to start a series that I think should be a little fun and hopefully keep you guys watching some of these Madden videos. I'm going to do how I would rebuild the Jacksonville Jaguars if I was the owner. Obviously, there's going to be some things in here that are limited due to Madden being Madden, and that's just how it goes, of course. The video playing in the background is just the game that I played against the Colts, because that is the only win that I think the Jaguars are going to have this year in 2020. So ultimately, we're going to just sim through the season, get to the offseason, replace Doug Marrone as the head coach. And that's where the limitations come in. Obviously, Madden is only going to allow us to do certain things. So I have some people in mind that I would bring in as the coach, but we'll see what is available in the offseason and go from there, obviously. This team going 1-15 is clearly going to be a tough rebuild on paper, but when you look at the team, it's actually not that bad. They have some good young receivers. In the sim, Tyler Eifert actually played very well, and he's signed for one more year, so at least we'll have him to try to carry the tight end position into the next year. But let's take a look and see what happens. So here we are. We signed Richard Sherman to a 2-year contract, as well as brought back Cam Robinson to play left tackle. And as you can see, our head coaching hire is definitely not going to be one that is made, I think, by any team this year. But we brought in Adam Gase. Honestly, I could see him being a very good offensive coordinator with the right team. And he still has that quarterback developer tag, even though he's not really going to develop much, or has not developed much with Sam Darnold. But we'll see what happens. I think Trevor Lawrence is a different quarterback. Obviously, that tells you I am going to draft Trevor Lawrence, because that is what I think the Jags are going to do and what I would do. Here we go. We traded Gardner Minshew and a safety that I didn't want on the roster, and we traded him to the Cowboys for their first-round pick, number 24 overall, which is going to give the team 3 first-round picks in this draft. And I think that's going to be really helpful in building this team. So, obviously, it gives us a strong safety need. Taking a look at the roster before we go into the draft, we did bring in Brashad Perriman at receiver, as well as some backups for left tackle, left guard, center, and I believe right guard, who could be developed. We also signed Jake Butt as a backup tight end, who I think is going to hopefully develop with us, but he is 26, so he's a little old, may not have much time to develop. We also brought in Matt Breida to be the third down back, and brought in Tano Passaniow as our right end. Right here he's listed as left, but he is going to start at right end for us. And we also brought in Jeff Heath to start at free safety. For kicker and punter, I brought in Corey Bojorges, as well as Joey Sly. Just because it's Joey Sly, dude. 99 kick power. Can't go wrong. Alright, here we go. Pick number 1 in the draft. No surprise at all. We know who it's going to be. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback out of Clemson, is the first pick on most boards. First pick on my board. Though after him, I may have some debate as to who I would go with quarterback. this point, we don't have to debate it. Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall. He is an 80 overall strong arm quarterback, which in Adam Gase's system isn't a perfect fit, but it's still great. It's got a hidden dev. He's obviously ranked number 2 in the entire class. And whoever number 1 is, we'll probably find out in a future video, as I do plan to do more of these rebuilds for you guys. So with pick 2, a shocker, the Bengals took Trey Lance. So obviously the Joe Burrow era in Cincinnati is over. Then we pick at 14. I was going to take Aiden Hutchinson, but obviously he was off the board there when we picked at 14. So there was a lot of options between Jalen Waddle, who was still on the board. Andre Cisco obviously was a top pick because I didn't want to go into the season with Jeff Heath. But we did have Jeff Heath, so that kind of took me away from that pick. Pat Freiermuth, still there. Would have been a perfect fit at tight end as we had nobody. Devonta Smith is there. But this was the pick that kept coming back to me. Micah Parsons. Yes, we had Joe Schubert at middle linebacker with Miles Jack. But dude, Micah Parsons is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime. If he gets picked by the right team, he's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime player. And so it kept coming back to me, and obviously that is who I settle on picking here, is Micah Parsons out of Penn State. And our linebacking core now is going to be really good. I don't see any better linebacking core in current NFL than Miles Jack and Micah Parsons, other than maybe Levante David and Devin White in Tampa. Those are the only two I could see that compare to those two. And so obviously Micah Parsons is the pick. And I debated it, but I'm like, he's here. There's no way I could pass that up. He's number 6 in true talent and was taken at number 14. So we then go pick by pick here. New England gets a left tackle, which is an odd pick, but Madden logic. Cisco comes off the board to Denver, and then Jalen Waddle to Tennessee. Freiermuth goes to Tampa. Another odd pick, as they have a load of tight ends. Zach Wilson going to the football team. Need a quarterback? Seems like a good fit. And then we pick again at number 24. And the board is still good. We still have Rondale Moore, Deontay Brown, Devonta Smith. Travis Etienne is still there. But I came back to Jalen Phillips, who obviously started at UCLA, was, I believe, in that year the top recruit in the country, or one of the top recruits. There was also Javon Holland here and Trey Hill. Trey Hill would have been more of a luxury pick, as we did have, I believe, Linder at center, who's an 86, I want to say. But just looking at Trey Hill, he's A- in everything. His combine was top 5 in all spots. But the potential of a Jalen Phillips on the defensive line is something that I kept thinking about, and I'm like, we need defensive linemen. We didn't have anybody. So we took Jalen Phillips out of Miami, who is going to be our left end of the future. And hopefully he will develop. He has a hidden dev, so it looks likely that he is going to develop. But we will see what happens. So Trey Hill goes at the next pick, and then so does Travis Etienne, both heading to New York teams. Rondale Moore going to be a Charger. Dylan Moses to the Colts. A running back to the Kansas City Chiefs again. Patty Fisher coming off to Cleveland, and then we are pick number 1 in the second round. And we still have a lot of people on the board, but when I was scouting, there was one guy that caught my eye, and that was Trevon Moehrig out of TCU. He's the second fastest safety, and we take him at number 1 in the second round. Honestly, we had nobody at strong safety, so he is a great pick and should be really amazing. Then we skip to our first pick in the third round. Obviously, I was in a toss-up here because there's a lot of good players on the board. Amon-Ra St. Brown would be great in the slot or on the outside. Trey Smith, the right tackle out of Tennessee, could play right tackle or slide in. Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State. Obviously, being a Patriots fan, I loved when his dad played for us. And, from what I've seen, Asante Samuel's been really good at Florida State. Also, Jabril Cox as a backup left outside linebacker would be a good backup to Clavion Chason. But I was really torn between two. It was Amon-Ra St. Brown and Asante Samuel Jr. Bolden, I was looking here. Had he dropped further and made it to us in the fourth round, I was probably going to take him. But instead, we do end up taking Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State because we did not have a slot corner at this point. And I think he would fit that need. And he just made the most sense to me at that time. So with our pick in the fourth round, unfortunately Bubba Bolden did not fall to us. So we only had a few options here. And the one that made the most sense to me was Walker Little out of Stanford. At one point, I remember Walker Little was being talked about as a number 1 offensive tackle. Honestly, in the fourth round, getting him seemed like a steal to me. I'm sure in the actual draft, he's probably not going to fall that far. I believe he's had some injury concerns there. But I figure at this point, we can take that chance, and maybe he could develop into a good starting right tackle for us, or somebody that we can trade for picks down the line. Left tackle is a very tough position to find. For now, with him being our pick, I'm going to probably slide him over to right tackle as I'll have more of a chance to develop there, potentially, and become that future trade bait at that position. And so that is where I cut off with the picks in the draft. But let's take a look at who we did get here. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Jalen Phillips, Trevon Moehrig, Asante Samuel Jr., and Walker Little are guys that that I took. And honestly, this was a really good draft, in my opinion. Yes, this is the Codeman Blue Gaming draft class that I made. It doesn't have all the players that are going to be available in the draft, but I did make in some ones that I thought were going to be surprise picks or not picks that you see on other draft boards. Like this pick coming up here in the 6th round, we picked up Torrey Carter, a fullback from LSU. So yes, my draft class does have 2 fullbacks in it, as well as our 7th round pick, Tanner Morgan out of Minnesota. He's going to be the backup to Trevor Lawrence. And what we did with our other picks that we had in this draft, we packaged them together, traded for a 3rd round pick from the Bengals in the next draft. So I think that fits needs that we had on the team, as well as helps us out in the future. And so here is what the team is going to look like going into week 1. We're actually playing the Bengals, so I'm interested to see who they're starting. Obviously, like I said, Tanner Morgan is going to be the backup to Trevor Lawrence. We're going to have DJ Shark and Brashad Perriman on the outside with Laviska Shenault as the slot wide receiver and Colin Johnson as our 4th receiver. We brought back Mercedes Lewis. I was excited about that. It's going to be his last year in the NFL, and what better way to have him go out than have him come back to the place where he started his career, Jacksonville, and hopefully retire with knowing that he helped bring this team around and turn it around. I wound up bringing in Ryan Kerrigan to back up Jalen Phillips at left end. He's also going to be our rush D tackle because he's got some speed that our other D tackles didn't have. I brought in Ziggy Ansah to back up passing now. Obviously, our starting corners are Richard Sherman and C.J. Henderson with Asante Samuel in the slot and Josiah Scott as the 4th corner. Jeff Heath is our starting safety at free safety with Josh Allen at right outside linebacker, Micah Parsons, Miles Jack in the middle, Kalavion Chason as the starting left outside linebacker, and then Trevon Moehrig as our starting strong safety. Moving over to special teams, you guys already saw it. We got Big Leg Joey Sly and Corey Bojorquez from the Bills. I think that's a perfect fit at those 2 positions. I signed them 2 long-term deals as they are younger, and I figured might as well lock them up now. Like I said, Matt Breida is going to be our starting 3rd down back. Josh Allen and Kalavion Chason as the starting rush ends. Taven Bryan and Ryan Kerrigan as the starting rush tackles. Our sub linebackers, Miles Jack, Michael Parsons. Obviously, James Robinson is going to be the starting running back with a lot of the power back role. And Laviska Shenault as the starting slot. If you guys want to see that gameplay against the Bengals team, please help get this video to 5 likes. Also, if you are new here, please like the page, subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell if you guys did like this video. I know this is a little bit of a different vibe from my Madden videos, but I hope you guys did enjoy, and I look forward to making more of these videos for you guys. Obviously, I'm going to try to do the draft in order, so we'll hit all 32 teams. So until next time, my name is Cody with Codeman Blue Gaming, and I appreciate you guys watching. See you next time.